All right, this is day 2 on trying to troubleshoot the alarm situation, and we got it to signal and blink and everything, but here goes, my key is out. Here's alarm key fob remote, so I'm gonna go ahead and unlock it. So right now it's not doing anything because I believe we might have I just installed things loosely, so upon shaking everything, you can see here how my ground wire came loose. So the black one for us, we went directly to the green wire, the ground wire, and then the positive constant, we took it from the ignition wire here. You can see this is the harness from the back side of it. And what we're gonna do, we're probably gonna solder it once we know for sure that these are where I go. So the minute I tap it, you hear a noise. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna tap it, we're gonna hear a noise, and then we're gonna go ahead and just make sure that, no, out. He's all frightened. You know, this is not, here we go. No, it's not something that you can chase or eat, buddy. There we go. So we got that one there. I can actually disconnect the siren right now. Just go for the light, but I want to hear at the same time. So it's easier for me. So you can see here, I'm trying my best here to put it in there. So they're not really secure connections. They're just kind of loose, bulging wires. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to tap it. There we go. I think it's not on there yet. Got to pull this one back. See here, it's just not the greatest contact. But we're going to troubleshoot it right now. That's why we're just having it lightly on there. So here we go. Now I got the key fob, and if the alarm is still connected properly, I should be able to connect it without throwing my key around. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so the alarm is connected to this arm right now. You can see the lights are working, and when I disarm it, it does a double click. Everything flashes. The reason why we connected those yellow wires, which is very simple, it does go to an orange wire here, right there, and then it also goes out to a yellow wire here that taps into sort of a light blue wire. So those are pretty common wires there that you could probably see, but it might be different in yours. This one's actually junction into a little light blue wire here on the right hand side, and then the other yellow wire is junction on the other yellow wire here on the light blue orange one right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to test out what we did with our wallet. We wired the blue wire into our sort of like a orange with red stripe wire, and that's coming from either our solenoid wire or CDI they mentioned. So what we got now is our red wire going to our constant again, and then our black wire. So the only thing that's left exposed right now should have been only the gray, and I guess this is a mobilizer wire, the gray and the pink. And this one should be on our ignition wire. So we're gonna put it back in to our solid black wire, because we noticed that when we test out the voltage on our solid black wire here, when the key is turned off, here I'll show you right now again just to make sure. There we go. Let me get my meter here, get some alligator clips. Let me unwind these guys here. We're gonna go ahead and probe them in there or something like that. And see. Okay, getting the meter ready. Back around the scooter here, we can work on this side much more easier. Okay, let me go and get focus. And let me go and get the meter. Prep ready, get it to voltage. And you can see what I mean by finding out your ignition wire. Again, thanks to APM scootering, kind of showed me how to test for ignition wire and everything else. He showed me how to use a multimeter, to be honest with you. That's how new I am to electronics. So if I can get this alarm to work without very much electronic experience, I'm sure you guys can do it too. So here we go, I'm just gonna ground this. I could just even ground with there, but that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and probe it. I can probe it. There we go. I'm just probing right into there, right? I'm putting the positive probe here, and I'm putting the negative on a solid piece of ground on the scooter, which is grounded to the battery. Here we go. I did this yesterday, but it wasn't too much thorough, so let me do this again. You notice my red wire just popped out, but I think I got a good connection here. There we go. There it goes. My red wire is probing to that solid black wire coming from the ignition. and we're just gonna take a reading on this real quick here. So you can see here is 0.593 volts, which is nothing. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put our ignition key in here. Okay, it's in the off position, right? And then when we take it straight parallel, it should be in the on position. So here we go. That's the on position. When the on position comes on, if everything works well, our running light should light up. See, there goes our running small S1 lights are lighting up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and turn on the key. We're actually going to start the scooter. I apologize. So you actually have to start the scooter in order for the ignition to show a voltage. Or maybe, let's see, because I think my lid just fell off. So let me go and connect my lid again. There you go. Here's the red lid that fell off. So let me go ahead and probe that back in. I still have it grounded on the other end of the alligator clips on my meter. And now I'm going to go and probe this again. You can be able to see it. Okay, here we go. Try to probe it right now. I have to hold on to the probe. See that? Even with the key on, you don't have to start the car. I mean, start the scooter. It's 12.24 volts. See it? So I'll just show you. I'll leave it on. See, it's still, well, it's not making good contact. That's probably why. Here we go. Let me try to get a good contact on there. Okay, so it's 324 volts, right? And I got it jammed in there now. You can see here's solidly stuck in there, or sort of. But you can see it probably from the top. See that? It's jammed in there, and I got my ground wire coming here, and it's coming back to my meter here. So it's 322 volts. It's reading the battery voltage. So the minute I turn off my key like this, see how it drops? So that's pretty much considered your ignition wire when it actually comes on, the power. And you don't want to use that for your alarm black wire, because if you do that, then your alarm's not going to have enough power to monitor your scooter. It's not going to work. So what we did was we tapped the alarm to the constant green wire, which is the constant ground. So if I put my probe here, you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and reprobe this. See that green wire coming from the ignition wire? This green wire right here. If I probe it, leave it in there, sort of. Okay, let's see if I'm getting good contact. Let me wiggle this around. Yeah, it's still on there. Oh, I'm sorry, because I have both grounds, right? So if you notice there, that is ground and this is ground too. That won't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap it. I am going to go ahead and use the lead. Let's see if I can even use both. Okay, so I can show you that there's a good constant power and a good constant ground on your ignition wire. Now you can use the ground, you know, to your frame as well, or to any part of the ground, but I just use it here because it's so close to the other positive wire, which is your constant battery wire coming here. So this one won't change regardless if the key's off. I'm going to go and turn the key off, then you can see what I mean. So let me go ahead and probe both of these and try to leave them in there. That way I can show you. There we go. They're probed in there. And there's my voltage reading, right? And the key is off. So even when the key is on, my voltage is still constant. Even when I take my key out, my voltage is still there. And that's what you want. You want your battery to be able to feed, you want your alarm to be able to feed off your battery constant. You don't want it to have it turned off. So if you put in just check, if you put in the solid black wire coming from your ignition, some might work because that's actually not their ignition wire. But some won't work. If you take a voltmeter, set it to volts, read DC, and if it still shows a positive when you take out your key, that means that's a constant line to your battery, which you're good. You can tie your alarm there. A lot of people tie their alarm directly to the battery for that reason. And it's starting a little wet, a little sprinkle here. I'm not sure why I'm even working outside in the rain, but I think I like the lighting more. So here we go. So you can see here the battery. Some people just connect it straight to the battery terminal and everything like that. But since we have access to our ignition wire here, we chose to keep it this way. Now you can see where the blue wire runs from the alarm. The alarm is pretty basic. You have your pretty much your auto start here. This is the blue wire, which we still haven't figured out yet, by the way. So it's not that basic for us. And then we have your pink and gray wire. That's your destabilizer wire. And then you have your orange wire. That's actually supposed to be for your ignition wire, where it goes to your ignition. For some reason, maybe it helps turn it on or something. It helps with the blue wire. So these two might work together, the orange and blue from your alarm. Again, this is your stabilizer wire, and then here's your power to your alarm system right here. And then it has a little harness here that goes to the speaker, and that's it. And then you got 2 more yellow wires coming from the alarm harness, and that goes into your right and left. You choose whatever signal lights you want to use. A lot of people definitely use their turn signal because then it'll make some flashes. And one wire is a set for one left side, rear and front, and the other one's for the right hand side, rear and front. So what we're thinking of doing is we're going to test this theory out, or maybe it's actually a theory, but our sort of our destabilizer, we're not going to worry about that right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to attach the blue wire but leave the orange wire out, and we're just going to give it battery power right now. So we're going to take this to our constant battery power that we just tested, the green and the red, and we're going to go ahead and see if the alarm will actually give us feedback. I'm going to try to do this. There's going to hear a beep. There we go. That's just normal. There we go. And this guy wants to see what's going on. He wants to know if he can bite something. All right, here we go. So let's see if the alarm actually triggers and the auto start works. So the key is out. I have my key fob here. I'm pushing the alarm, and let's go ahead and push this twice. See, double click, nothing's still. So whatever it is not triggering the blue wire. So we tried to actually put the yellow orange wire to help out with the ignition, and that still didn't trigger, unfortunately. Now this blue wire, when you actually here, I'll show you, when you put it on, it actually creates a pulse of 12 volts, and this is what we're talking about here. So here we go, out. So out. Here we go. Put that blue wire here, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach the other lead to a ground, the black wire of the meter, and you're going to see a burst of voltage coming from it. Let me go ahead and get the correct priority. I always have a habit of crossing the color code. This is just more easier to see what I'm doing. Okay, get that in there. It's a little messy, sorry. Okay, there we go. We got this to ground. And again, I gotta give much credit to APM. He showed me this, how to actually test the pulse of the ground coming in. You can check out his YouTube channel. I think it's APM Scootering. Here we go. And then we're gonna go ahead and put this onto the red. The red going to the pulse, the auto start. And you're gonna see here, when I push the fob, what's gonna happen. So right now I have the negative going to the ground of my scooter. You can go to the negative of the battery or ground, which doesn't matter. It's going to be grounded. You want to make sure you have a good ground though. And then I have the blue wire directly from the alarm coming into our red positive wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this button. You can see here is in the millivolts, right? And set to DC. Simple meter, you know. And you can select it to AC or DC, but just leave it on DC. Okay, so, or you have something that says auto. So mine's 231.5 millimeter and fluctuating, right? But the minute I push this right here, it's supposed to normally start the bike. Make sure your thing is not grounding or touching something else. The black one's okay, but you don't want to have the red one to the blue one touch to ground again. So it'll short itself prematurely there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is hit this right here on the key fob. This is where your remote start should be. Okay, watch, 1, 2. Look at that, see how it jumps the voltage? See, so it is actually introducing the voltage. And what it does is it's supposed to introduce the voltage here where it clicks on the relay. Normally your push start here does that, but now the blue button helps it, and it does that for you when you push the remote remotely. And that's what should turn over the scooter. And what puzzles me is how could it not, someone can actually hijack your scooter with just installing an alarm system, right? Because they don't need the key. They can just hotwire that way. I'm sure there's different ways to hotwire, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to endorse that behavior. And I don't even know how they do it. But so here we go. What it is now also, if you push it on the key fob, see how it's millivolt, 1, 2. See that? It's burst the 13-point volt needed to actually start the relay. And that's why they connect it. If you notice the relay color right here, it's more like there's a green and yellow, and then there's also red and yellow. Those are actually joined together somehow. They're actually already connected. I can test the continuity of both of them. And they come here to this harness here, and it runs somewhere to the front. And I believe it goes up and into this harness here. So we can probably get there is probably the green and blue. That's probably the same one bursting out. And we can check for continuity there too as well. I'll show you how. So I see it right there. You see on the D1, sorry. Wait, let's see if you can see on the D1. You see on D1 there's a green and yellow wire as well. So that might be the same pulse wire to the solenoid there. So see, we have a green. We have a green and yellow stripe. Sorry, you can't see it. But if you follow it, see there's that green yellow stripe again. And it normally would come along, riding along here, all the way to the harness bushel and into our bushels of wire here. And it meets up all the way here. See, if you see any the ones, and also every junction might change color on this too, you know, I mean, it plays games on it. So I think that wire might there be the same. So we can actually probably take the blue wire and tap it to this one right here, because that's still the closest to our ignition wire, which you see our ignition wire doesn't have that green and blue. Now what we did was we took the blue wire and we tapped it here where the switch is so near. You can see how it runs up, right? Actually it changed color. I'm not sure if it still changed color, but if you look at it, this wire here is the same continuity. The orange with red stripe right there is the same continuity wire coming near to our kill switch and our starter. We don't know which one for sure, but it's the same continuity as here, this wire right here. So you can tell also by the color code, but sometimes it changes color on you when it hits the junction, then they decide to switch it around. And another thing also is, if you notice that black and white stripe wire, we're told to break that out to use the immobilizer in between it. Not serial together, but actually makes a junction. So you'll break the ignition wire of the black and white one, which I'll show you right here. See that black and wire one? That's coming from your ignition, right? It's like, I call it the skunk wire because of the white stripe it has. And be careful, if you turn it a certain way, you might not be able to see it, and you think it's a solid black one. That's why I mistaken it for the first top one here, which is solid black. So the skunk wire here, I call it, needs to be broken. And what it is, you take the pink wire, the alarm, and junction it directly to the ignition wire. And what you could do is you can just take this pin off, and then you can tap it just for temporary. You don't want to break your wire yet if you just want to test it out. And then of course, when it breaks off here, you can out loop it. You can feed the other gray one temporarily into the other side here where the skunk wire is still there. You can put the gray wire here. So what it is it's going to go like the black and white into the pink, okay, and then loops around to the system here, the alarm system, and then back out to the gray one from the other side of the junction. See that? Or it could be the other way too, how current flows or pulse flow. So that's going to be that way. We can test that theory out, the immobilizer, but first we're trying to just get our auto start to work. And I realized too, where you mount this at probably would be critical. You probably want to mount this somewhere securely. If you look at, I have a great spot right here next to my horn there, but I think over time, with the horn being vibrating as well, it might put a little pressure on this light plastic, horn that's given with the alarm. It's pretty standard. I see most of those plug and play alarms have those. Unfortunately, we don't have a plug and play harness, so we have to work this way. And then if you notice this one right here, there's adhesive there, like M3 adhesive. They'll give it to you. I'm not even sure if it's M3. There's only $20 is alarm system, so I'm not sure what the quality of it is, but it seems like pretty good, And then you put the adhesive back here. I recommend probably putting this, and also a lot of professional car alarm installation, put it somewhere where the plastic is. That way it can sense and vibrate. So this is actually where it senses and vibrates. There's probably a little, mechanism or a diode or something that feels that vibration and sets off the alarm. The first tap makes one beep, the second, or makes a couple beep, and the second tap it really goes off. And then what this antenna is, I'm not sure why, but I actually got good range. This antenna is actually for your key fob remote to be able to pick up on it, just like you would have anything else, like a car remote, how it has the antenna like this, or the car itself has a little antenna. That way it can pick up on the remote itself. So this was actually not for a vibration sensor, so I apologize for saying that. This is mainly just to pick up your key fob. So you actually have a longer range here. When you push the key fob, you can arm and disarm it. I was able to go at least, I say, a half football field. So that was pretty impressive, but I'm not sure with the closure and everything, with the, with all the other plastic case. So you might want to put this somewhere where it can maybe protrude out a little bit. So that might help a little bit. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna show you guys how I'm gonna go ahead and take these pins off, which these pins are easy to take off. Here, I'll show you again. Let's get this guy off first. I'll try to do it one hand, or maybe, let me set this aside real quick here. That way you can see me just grab it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and push the pressure on here, yank it out. We already got two out before, it's so simple. What you're gonna need is a flathead, screwdriver, not screwdriver, sorry. Here, you're gonna need a plier like this. Take a plier like this, right? And you're gonna probably need something like a small Phillips to actually expand it back when you put it in. And what I was going to do is actually solder. So here, I'll give you an idea. See how it comes out like that? Get up close real quick. I always like to bring my camera up close, that way you guys can see the detail of everything. Get good resolution. So you see that right there, right? All you got to do is actually take a pair of needle nose pliers, and let's say which one we're working on. Well, for sure we know we can tie this one to our positive and this one to our negative. So we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to take it off. So you see a little bump there? What you do is you get your needle nose plier there. Just squeeze the whole thing. You'll have to squeeze the whole thing. There's no way of shortening it. So you just squeeze the whole thing. You'll feel it go in all the way. Be careful. You might squeeze the other side too, but there you go. Squeeze it. Or just, if you can't, you'll probably use the other side as a backup. But you want to get this flat. The reason why is you want to be able to pull it out. It has nothing to grip on no more. It has no teeth. There you go. See how it slides out easily? And that's it. And what you do is, we're going to go ahead and take some solder. And we're going to join our alarm wire here. Our positive one. We're going to do a clean install. We don't have to tap this wire and put duct tape and, you know, make it hideous. There's no reason for that when you actually have a way to actually get to the actual contact. So, you know, you can actually maybe redo this if you have a nice tip like this the same way. I don't have one. So what I'm going to do is apply some heat to underneath here, get this really heated up, and put my wire on top, and then prepare to have the solder, you know, absorb and melt right on there. And that'll give us a really nice connection there. But in the meantime, since I don't have that, now the thing why you need the little flathead screwdriver is when you put it back in, you don't want to put it in flat like this. It's going to slide right back out because you actually crushed it already, little flat part. So you need to actually bring it back upward. So you take a little flathead, jam it in there. What we're going to do right now is just go ahead and jam our positive wire in there so we can just test it out. Here we go. In fact, let's take out the green one as well. So we do the same thing. You can see the green one here. It has a little bump. Now you might have to use the outside or the inside of the harness, but you don't want to put pressure too much. You don't want to break it. These things are still plastic. So you can see here the needle nose plier fits right in. There's a little concave square hole inside further. So you don't go to the first one, go all the way to the end. You can get your needle nose pliers straight to the little hole at the end. And then you don't even have to put pressure, just kind of hold it down. And it should just slide right out like that, see? So let's go ahead and tie in the green wire, and let's tie in the red wire. I mean, we're going to tie in like in our positive alarm wire here. That's a given, right? And then we're going to, the solid one here, it's going to probably be our orange wire, but I said in some other people, they don't even use the orange wire. I don't know why, but we're going to need to also take this off. Now, I took so many off here. You don't want to take more than one or two off. That way you can remember it. The green wire is below, the red wire is on top. The reason why, because it has to match this side here. And this side, you can see here, the red wire is on top. See there? The red wire is on top and the green wire is below. Okay, so here we go. So what we're going to do is soak this in here, right here. And starting to sprinkle a little bit, so I better get this going fast. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here like this, right? Just kind of jam it in there a little bit. Just give it a little bit. Okay, now you have to face a certain way, so you can look back this as a reference. You can see how the little tipper is facing this guy right here. So we're going to face this guy right here too. Okay, that goes from the very top. I'm not sure if I can really do this. Okay, I'm going to give it some more slack. Give it, you know, relieving the pressure from pulling out. Okay, I'm just going to poke it in. See it goes smoothly in. You see that? Kind of goes. Get a good focus on that one. So that goes focus right there. Yeah, if it snaps, it'll be great. Like, creates more. Oh, it's gonna be a little hard to pull out too, by the way, because now you have pressure of the wire too that you have to crush. But we'll see. I need to really get that in there because if it doesn't lock, it's not. Now look at that right there. See? Now what I could do is I could hold this right here, you know, bunch the wires up like this so it won't yank itself out, and I can help it. I'm gonna take my plier, and I'm gonna go ahead and so you can see it now. I'm gonna take my plier and I'm gonna pull it from here. Just kind of use the base of it a little bit. There you go. See that? I just helped it. And now also this wire is kind of snugged in there. But you still want to solder though. I mean, this is not going to be a permanent fix. But it's actually a little bit more station than me loosely putting in the wires there. Okay, so now we're going to take the other one. Where is that one? There we go. The green wire. we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put the black wire in it. Okay, so you can see I only pinched a little bit because I didn't want to short itself, because if you create a longer wire, you got a whole bunch of loose wires like this. Eventually it's going to come from each other. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this one right here off. Okay, give it a little bit more gap. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to feed our black wire. This is our constant. Yeah, if you're going to do it, try to do it nicely. Make sure it's not bunched or wires. It's going accordingly. I'm going to unloosen this again. We're going to make sure everything is nice and straight before we. So you can see here, I'm trying to shove the majority of the contacts in here. Okay, as much as I can. Okay, I might have to get a little bit of the rubber in there too. Again, this is temporarily. You're going to want to hit it with a solder. So I'm going to go ahead and feed it in there. Give myself a little bit more layaway time here. There you go. And feed it back into that little hole there. You can see that. And this should go going. I'll try to force it in myself, but just by hand. If I can't, again, you're going to take a plier. Keep this crunched up as much as you can, because you don't want that that black wire to pull out from the green wire. Just use this tool here. Help it. Okay. It's gonna be a little harder because you have to pull one in and then you have to also hold the other end. You might not have to anymore. Let's see if it goes in now. Okay, there you go. You hear it snap and that's it. That's all you want. Okay, so now it's secure. Our green wire with our black alarm wire and our red wire from the ignition. Positives constant battery to our red wire here. So those two are definitely done. Now what we want to do now is actually let's try to actually put the orange wire. Now we don't have to worry about two loose wires. We have to worry about one loose wire and a blue wire here, and that's it. So we're going to just try to get our remote start to work, and then we'll work on our demobilizer, which is the gray and pink wire afterwards. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go and plug into the harness. Oh, the alarm, see that? That means that it's good contact. We don't have to worry about these wires anymore. And now we're going to go ahead and put the, it said here that this is the ignition wire, the orange wire on our schematic. So, and then it goes to a solid black one, which we tested out. It was actually only getting power when our ignition was turned on. So that's, we assume right there is our ignition wire. So what we're going to do is actually focus on getting that wire in here. There we go. You know what? Let's go ahead and just do that. Let's go ahead and put that, squeeze this right here. You can squeeze it right here and use your thumb, whichever is more convenient for you. Just squeeze it, that'd be perfect. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get this solid black wire out and actually do the same thing and get the orange wire in there. Okay, again, you want to kick your needle nose plier all the way. Don't want to put pressure too much on the plastic, and don't want to snap the plastic like this, because you can break the plastic easily. You just want to put a little pressure, just so nothing, this little guy can wiggle out. Once you feel like it's already wiggling out. So again, this is a solid black wire. This is how it looks compared to the striped skunk wire, okay? Call it the skunk wire. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put this back here. And we're going to open up the leads. All right. My brother's working on the outlet electricity too. He turned it off the main master power. So hopefully you won't see any fireworks or smelling of any person roasting. We're going to try wire up the car. I wire up the outlet to be able to help support the electric car, which needs, if you buy an electric car, just let you know that your home power outlet might not give it sufficient power. So you're going to have to do a little bit more work on that one. Okay, let's go and route this guy behind back. Oh, sorry, you can't see it now. Trying to reroute the wire nicely back to where it was. I think it falls right behind. Well, we know it's right here, but we want to see where it doesn't crisscross too much wires. So it's still there, constant. Okay, so we're going to shove this in here. Again, we're going to hit this with a solder afterwards later, but we need to actually get stabilized so we can focus on all the other loose wires. Be one less loose wire, how about that? Okay, you can see here, oh, okay, let me just get this in here. Just kind of hold it a little bit, because I need sort of some force to hold the base as well. While I grab the plier and I start pulling it, see that? I'm going to start pulling that orange wire through, which is this one right here. You can tell it's shorter than all the rest, right? See that? This one right here needs to be pulled right through. All right, so there you go. I'm going to pull it. There you go. Just a nice pull, not too bad. All right, so our orange wire now is sort of secure. I'm not going to tug it to test it out, but it's secure enough. It's not actually. It just came out. All right, so Let me go and pull that back in. And actually, yeah, I was supposed to stretch this out, but I realized we have wires in there to play with. So, okay, let me go and pull this guy back out. Put your thing in there just flat. Don't even have to actually grip much, really, or at all. Just kind of firm it to hold it. Okay, let's go ahead and try to feed this orange wire. Careful not to extend this too much. You could break this a little bit, and then you'll have another trouble. So if you do this, it's almost like a few times only you could do this before it starts wearing out. Okay, there we go. I'm shoving some of the rubber insulator on there as well. You notice I'm shoving it, it's kind of gapping a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. This looks like pretty good. All right, let's do this. It might have came out when I released my finger already, so I'm going to try to support the orange wire more than anything. And then I'm going to go and try to pull it again. Okay, I'm pulling it out. There you go. It feels more tighter this time when I pull. That might work. Okay. So there we go. A little bit more stabilized. So we got the orange wire and the solid one. We got the green wire and our negative alarm. And we got the red wire again. Now we're going to try start. And we're going to go and the alarm will come on because we have good contacts now. And we're going to go and get the blue wire here. And again, I'm thinking the continuity is the same as the wire over here, right? If you look at this wire right here, it has the same sort of, what do you call it? We're going after this one right here, the yellow and green one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my probe and check for continuity. And how you check for continuity is you take your meter and you set it to ohms. And you probably want to make the beeping noise if you don't have your meter. It says open line, meaning there's no connection connected. That's how you know it's not actually related or something broke in the line. So this is it. It's going to give us a signal if there's good contact. And just basically show you again with the meter. There we go. We're going to take this off. We're just going to have the probes. Okay, so we got these probes here, right? The minute I touch these probes together, it creates a full contact, meaning there's connection. You can hear it? See that? And there's some resistance in the wires too, but we're not worried about that. Okay, so I'm going to go and take the probe, and I'm going to go ahead and probe this wire right here, and we're going to just check for continuity. That's all. Let's see if I can do this here. I'm going to get the thing down. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we have a white wire with a yellow stripe, and we have a blue and white wire. So we're just going to go ahead and try to probe it here. That blue and white wire always reminds me of the stator wire that changed to black and white on this. So again, it's just so hard to determine which wire. Now, it doesn't really matter which side of the probe you're doing because you're just checking for continuity. So it doesn't matter if you use positive or negative. But I'm just going to go ahead and try to shove my positive one. It will shove right because there's plenty of room in